have never seen a preview in my life like that. It was like, hey y'all, hey, it is Karen Sawyer with her sidekick,
Mark.
It's been some time since we've given you a movie review.
A little while.
Yes, it's been a little while. So we just went to see The Sound of Hope, the Possom Trot story. Did I get that right?
Or the story of Possom
What
Trot.
did I say? No, I was gonna mess it up. Whatever. Nonetheless, we are just getting back from seeing the movie. So I decided I wanted to go see a movie today. I called Mark to see if he wanted to go to the movie. He said yes. Okay, I chose the movie. And I saw perhaps, I don't know, maybe 5 seconds of what the movie was going to be about. I was like, okay, I got to go see it. I just cut it off the preview. And he had no clue what we were going to see. So we were actually sitting in the movie and there was a cartoon on. And he said, is this the movie we came to see? I said, no. So then he said to me again, you sure we, no, then I said, you sure we in the right movie number? Because it was like, wow, this is a little long, you know.
It was more than just a little preview.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even tell him it was a preview yet. So then he said to me again, are you sure we're in the right movie? I said, yes. And so it turned out to be a preview to a cartoon coming in November called Daniel. Was it called Daniel?
Or David.
David! I have never seen a preview in my life like that. It was like we watched the whole cartoon. So then the movie came on. And I'm going to let you go because I knew what it was going to be about, but not exactly the whole movie. So let's start with what your initial feeling was when you realized what the movie was about.
My initial feeling.
But you're like, oh Lord, why she brought me here to see this? What was your thought?
No.
What was your thought? Or was you like, oh, this is going to be interesting? What was your thought?
No, I mean, I actually saw the title before. I didn't watch a preview, but I always read the synopsis. So I knew it was a particular genre of movie, such as an inspirational type story. I enjoyed those type movies. So it wasn't like, oh, what did you bring me to? I knew a little bit. I really didn't remember. I'm sure I read that it was about what it was, but I didn't really remember that while I was watching it until it got into it a little bit. So no, I wasn't like that. So
this is going to be a little bit different than what we typically do with our movie reviews because this was very dear to our heart. So this is also, in addition to giving you our thoughts of the movie, we're going to also talk a little bit about our foster care and adoption journey. So this movie is all about a church, the congregation, the members of the church in this small town in Texas called Possom Trot. I got that right? Correct. And so they came together, the first lady of the church. It was her encouragement or her influence for 22 families within that church to adopt 77 children, but not just 77 children in the foster care system, 77 children, what we call hard to place children. These children came from severe abuse and neglect. So what comes along with that is some behavioral issues. So they are then considered hard to place. Typically, when you have children that are hard to place, they are placed in numerous foster homes. So this is what that movie was all about. There are currently 100,000 children waiting to be adopted. So it was about the story of the bishop and the first lady. They were the main characters, and it was about their experience of adopting. So they didn't even do foster care, which was odd to me. We did foster care first. We were foster parents for 17 years, had over 50 children in our home, and we have adopted too. So it was interesting to me that they went straight for adoption. And I believe they had 2 birth kids, and then I would say they had 4 adopted children. So yeah, so one of their daughters had severe abuse and neglect, and I don't want to give away the whole movie, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what it was. You will have to go see the movie. But they persevered. It was very challenging. At times, you bring a new child into the family, into the household, and it does create some upset at times. And so that was definitely evident in this movie that that's what happened. But again, they persevered, and there was a lot of praying. Again, this is, I would say, would you say it was considered a spiritual movie? Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of praying. It's not all a bed of roses. People say, "Oh my gosh, they're adopted." Yeah, you don't know what people went through when they're going through situations where in their case, they weren't a foster family. However, they were dealing with children that came from the Department of Social Services. So yeah, there's a lot of challenges, not only with their family, with a lot of the families, and caused some financial hardships as well. So the movie was inspirational, and it did my heart good because they were, they're wanting to inspire others to step up and make a difference in the life of a child, open their hearts and open their homes. And it made me feel good because we've done our part. 17 years. And I feel good about that. It was very rewarding for me. However, at times, very difficult when the children had gone back to their homes, because the number one goal typically is reunification with the birth family if possible. The parents and then the birth family. That's always the goal. So if you've really truly opened your heart and you've been raising this child for a year or two, and then they go back home, that's a hard one. That can be very difficult. And so I know the first child that I experienced that with, I had to go buy a dog. I just had to have something to love and nurture. And we were foster parents before we had birth kids. So our story is a little unique that we did that first. And then we had our first birth son, but had foster kids at home. And then continued to foster, and then eventually adopted too. So it just, was just good to know that we did our part. And it was just interesting to watch our story, basically, not exactly a church and all that, but just seeing what happens in the home. It can be very challenging. So I would encourage others to see it. The music was fabulous if you like gospel music. And so so what would you like to say about it when you were watching it? What occurred for you?
Well, I mean, it brought up a lot of feelings about things that we've been through. I would say, and I'm including myself in this, is that until you put yourself in a situation where you are fostering or adopting, you hear stories, but you just don't really have any idea what some of the children have been through, what they deal with, and why they act the way that they act. And if you decide to go that route, you go through a number of classes, and I don't even think that you understand when they talk about the different stages that the child's going to go through until you live it. So seeing things that happened there just brought back a lot of memories of things that we've dealt with throughout the years. But overall, I think for us it was a fantastically positive experience. I know, again, she said that she had to get a dog when our first child that was with us for about a year ended up going back to their family. She had to get a dog, but we actually decided for a while we weren't sure if it was for us. So we took a break and then decided because it just hurt our hearts so much for them to leave our house after they were with us for a year. But
or two. How about 2 years?
Yeah, and we've had some that have been with us for 2 years or even a little more, and had to go back to their families.
I just stand in the kitchen and cry. We just stood in the kitchen. I know them too. We stood in the kitchen and we cried because we had ordered this. I remember. I don't know if you remember. There was a CD. Yes, it was a gospel CD that Mark and one of our sons, they saw it on TV, so they ordered it and they went back to their family and they were gone. And that gospel CD showed up. We just stood in the kitchen holding each other and we just bawled. It was so bad. Oh my gosh. And those two young men still keep in touch with us today. They have their own families now. So it's great that, some of them we still have relationships with. I wish I could tell you that they're all a success. I wish I could give you a successful story from each one, but they all have not been a success. They have had some challenges. However, it's good nonetheless, even if they're in trouble, that they keep in touch. I just love that. And, I continue to give encouraging words and guide them in the right direction, because what else can I do? And it's coming, from the heart. And they trust me. Obviously, they're calling and sharing with me some of their, things that people would sweep under the rug and try to hide and not want to share it. They're really vulnerable with me still today. And then I just, give them guidance and encourage them. That's all I can do. But I can tell you that in addition to when they go back home, when they come to you and you have some bizarre behaviors, you just have to find some patience. So, I'm not giving names, but we had one little boy came to us at 5 and he just was like, there was no home training, so to speak. He was just really wild, and he would go under the table and you couldn't get him. He wouldn't come from under the table. And it was just like it's like you let a dog that's been caged up for days and you let him out. That's how he was, just wild. And it was just like, whoa. And then the conversation for a 5-year-old. So this day we got him and I went to the store to get some socks and underclothes. And that's another thing. They don't always come with clothes. And then they might come with just the clothes on their back and a garbage bag of clothes that are soiled, bleached, just raggedy clothes. So, I always went and got new clothes, and then I started a whole suitcase drive because of that. And perhaps I'll share a story about that later, because there's nothing worse than the children walking around with their belongings and a garbage bag that just denotes that it's garbage. But anyway, nonetheless, I went to the store, and when I went into the store, tell them the conversation this 5-year-old had with you.
The basic conversation, you would have thought that I was talking to another grown person. Again, 5-year-old little boy. And the conversation is asking me if I own a gun, because he's responsible for hiding his mother's boyfriend's gun when he's in the house. So he tries to keep it away from him so there aren't any issues or any problems. He talked about, he questioned me about, does my wife cheat on me? And I'm like, no, why are you asking? He goes, don't worry. If she's not now, she will eventually. And I'm just like, I'm just an incredulous look on my face. And I'm like, how am I having this conversation with this 5-year-old boy?
Yeah. So,
but it's really interesting, and it turns out he was his mother's caretaker for quite a bit. He would go out to bars and try local bars near their house and try to bring her home, get her out of the bar and get her back into the house.
And how do we know this? Because he told us so. He would really sit and have these conversations. But remember, we're talking about a 5-year-old. And so eventually, with a lot of patience to redirect, not redirect, but to correct his behavior, and just a lot of love, a lot of patience, he got to become a child. He was thriving in school. He calmed down. He can now sit and watch a whole TV, a whole cartoon, because before he couldn't do that. So a little at a time, he could sit and watch a cartoon, and it was over time, and he was doing so well. And then, these are not our children. So there is some challenges within the family unit. So they're trying to find a temporary placement. Again, we know that the goal is reunification with that birth family. So the mom did what she needed to do, take the classes and whatever else they asked her to do. And so she did that, and he was reunified with his family, but things didn't go too well, and there was a lot of stuff happening. So unfortunately, I can't give you a success story with him, but while he was in our care, however, it does my heart good to know that he got to just be a child. So that was one of the very beginning, but then we had a little boy before him. He was 4, turning 5. We had him for 2 years. And that's the one that took me out. That one took me out. I think that's when I went to get the dog. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember which child. I think it was him that I had. They left it up to me, which they should not have done, to go to the school to get to school records. Because he was going to go back with his mom, and I just bawled. I was sitting in the office and I was just crying. I couldn't get myself together. That was so hard. And I heard one of the administrators explain to someone what the situation was, because I know they was like, this lady's falling apart. That was hard, but it was a very fulfilling experience for me. And as I said, we have adopted 2 that were in our care. But before I go on and talk about their success story, do you have anything else to say about the movie?
No, I mean, not a whole lot. To me, again, even seeing a lot of the trauma that some of the children go through, to me, it's an inspirational story and a story of hope. Mm-hmm. And again, the main goal, I believe, of telling this story is to try to get other people involved. And, the message is kind of like, who's going to help them if not you? Mm-hmm. So if there are, people out there that are contemplating doing something like this to help other children, I strongly recommend it. I definitely feel that, it's certainly, you can probably see from what we're saying, it's certainly not all bed of roses. It's not all easy, but I do think it's worth it in the long run to be able to help some of these children through that period of their life, and hopefully be able to help some of them for the rest of their life.
Yes. So our 2 sons, so we have 5 sons. We have 3 birth kids and 2 sons that joined us through adoption. And they joined us through the foster care system at the age of 6 and 8. They are now 29 and 30. 31's grade be 31. Mm-hmm. Wow, next month.
Won't be long.
Yeah, and then the 29th grade be 30 in December. And I'm telling you, when I tell you, this might be where I'm going to get a little emotional. When I tell you how proud I am of them, I am so proud of them. They have beat the odds. They have really taken our guidance, and they trusted us, and they were just wonderful young men. Now, they were a little challenging when they got to us. They was a little rough, and they used to like to fight. And I taught them that all you have in life is each other. Your brothers. You cannot fight. So we had to get through that, because they were a little angry when they got to us. And you would never believe the young men that they are today, that was them. How many years ago was that? 22, 23 years ago? Mm-hmm. You would never believe it's the same human beings. They're just beautiful and calm. Oh my gosh, so calm and well-mannered. And they're both college graduates. I'm so proud of them. And neither one of them are married yet. One is in a serious relationship. And then our other son, which is his brother, a year younger, he is not in a committed relationship right now. He is actually climbing that ladder. It's not even corporate, because is it corporate that he works for? But he's really, really focused on his career. And so, they both are, self-sufficient, has great jobs, have cars, has their own place. And I'm just super proud of them.
Absolutely.
Very articulate. They're communicative is what I really wanted to say. They're very communicative. Just kind young men, well-mannered. And we did our job with that one. So that's the success story. And I can't even imagine if they did not come to our doorstep who they would be today. That's how I feel. But who knows? Maybe they would have been fortunate, by the grace of God, to wind up on the doorstep of another family that put their all into making a difference and caring and loving and nurturing and being patient. So that is my success story. Do you have a success story? Because yours might be different than mine.
No, I would say in terms of the foster care and adoption, that definitely is it. They definitely are what I believe that the way they've turned out is what we intended and why we got into deciding to help young people.
Now, their very first foster son, I don't know if he was the first or the second, the one that I had to get the school records for, he too, I haven't talked to him for a couple years, maybe 3 or something. He went back to his mom. Their situation was a little bit different. There was some mental health issues versus neglect. And so he did go to college and graduated, and he matriculated in psychology. But I haven't talked to him since he was in college. I do know he finished, because I remember speaking with his sister online a few years back, but I'm not sure what exactly he's doing now. But I would say that's also a success story. But I don't want you to then think that just because you don't go to college, there's not a success. Because that's not what I'm alluding to. But those two stories just have, those two situations, those just happen to have went to college. Anything else you would like to add? Well,
I don't believe.
So we just encourage you to open your hearts and open your homes. If you, like he says, ever contemplated it, I can just tell you, for me, it was very fulfilling. It was a lot of work. Okay, a lot of work, but it was very fulfilling. I just felt that is what I was to do. I don't believe it's for everyone. Mm-hmm. Absolutely not. It's not for everyone, but I feel like that was my calling. And I feel that we did, as a team, a very good job. So with that, we're giving the movie 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and let us know what other stories you would like us to share with you. Because after being together for 31 years, married for 29, raising 5 young men, we have a lot of stories to share. Thank you for watching. And as always, remember, there's 86,400 seconds in every day. Make every second count. Go make a difference.
Don't waste any of it.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.